So let's move on. Khabib Nurmagomedov's head coach Javier Mendez spoke to Off the Brawl last night. He wants Khabib and McGregor to fight again ASAP. The Nevada investigation into the UFC 229 brawl is due before the end of this month. They like a good quick investigation, don't they? You know, months and months and months and months and months and months after the fact, they're finally getting round to having an investigation into what happened in the brawl, which took place after the really the massive straightforward victory for Khabib against McGregor. Here is what Javier Mendez had to say last night. Have a listen.
So, okay, this is the thing. Come September 29th, we'll know what's going to happen. And Khabib may very well have one idea, and I may very well have other ideas, which is usually the case. But usually the person that has the best pulse on what Khabib's going to do is his father. It doesn't matter what I say, but what I want is obviously, I look at this as more of a prize fight than I do sport, you know. So I want the biggest prize fight. So the biggest prize fight, hands down, no comparison, is Conor. So obviously I want a rematch because that's what this is, the biggest prize fight, right? And because of what happened on the last time, there's more interest now on the second one, if there's a rematch to be had, because we don't know with Conor. He's so rich now with his Proper 12. I hear is doing fantastic. You know, he's a great image, bro. He appears to be a hell of a businessman. So now's the time to strike while the iron's hot. I say Cowboys Stadium, because that still would do the pay-per-view numbers. They would do everything. I think now's the time to consider doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been buttering up Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, with his... he showed up to two separate games, was it?
Certainly, he showed up to one.
I think one on the field. He was in Jerry Jones' box. He was on the field throwing passes to Dak Prescott. Then they all did the celebration the next week when whenever they scored a touchdown. Like, Dallas, I mean, I don't know how much money Jerry Jones makes from renting out a stadium. Doesn't seem to care that much about, like, making extra cash. He seems to be happy to blow his money on whatever. Spent something like 15 million on the party when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
If you've got that kind of money, though, it is like, that's kind of like you spending 50 quid on your 50th. Like, you're going to spend 50 quid on your 50th.
Burn, that was a good one. Yeah, all right.
I don't see any reason why the renting out the stadium is going to be an issue from a Jerry Jones perspective.
Well, they feel it, though, is the thing. It's huge, and it's I mean, I don't know, maybe like you bounce these things out of Vegas and all of a sudden Dallas and Houston metropolitan areas decide they want to go and see a big fight.
If they pack out Cowboys Stadium for a UFC card, that's a real game changer for Dana White, really, isn't it? It's kind of ratcheted this thing up to another level. Like, Texas, obviously quite protective of the idea that it's a big footballing state, and there's no other sport that's going to come close to football in this state. Like, basketball is tried, and it will always play second fiddle, as it is in a lot of states. I see they've got an MLS team, actually, this week. But if the UFC managed to kind of sell out Cowboys Stadium with a strong pay-per-view card beside it, it's a really big rubber stamp for not only what this organisation can do, but further evidence of this insane brand that is Conor McGregor. Now, the thing is, listening to Khabib's camp there is this sort of sense that they desperately want this. Like, it's very rare that you hear the clear victor coming out so soon after a fight and saying, we want to rematch so soon. They clearly just see the bank balance that could be resulting from this, and it is a huge payday from them, and you can't blame them.
But also the lack of peril. There is no peril. He's going to win that fight.
Good point.
Like, I think that's the most... Yeah, we'll take this fight.
Is there any way that McGregor gets himself into a shape where he can beat that guy? It's very hard on the evidence of the last fight. Like, there was... Like, Chris Fields was in the studio before that saying that there is every chance that if McGregor does X, then he can actually win this thing.
But he did also, like, he laid out a path to victory for McGregor, but it was like a bunch of very specific things having to happen almost in sequence.
Yeah, it's true. It was kind of like the idyllic situation time and time again in the little mini battles that happen within the fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. But the way he's kind of analysed it himself and the way he's been speaking, just those couple of Instagram posts, McGregor, it's kind of like there is a huge amount of regret, I think, in terms of how he approached the fight. Now, the thing is, if he approaches it in a different way or has more success early on, like it was a second round I think he won, wasn't it? If he has more success in that first round, does Khabib then have a different plan B himself? And he probably does, just because he seems to be a far superior fighter.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the other thing if you're Khabib is, like, you have the rematch. You know, you lose it in the 5th round, you get a 3rd fight, and the money rolls on, and you keep McGregor relevant for a long period of time.
Not a chance. That guy does not seem like the type of person who would ever want to think about money over his... He thinks about money, but money over his greatness as a fighter. He's definitely the most tuned in terms of his legacy as a great combat sports figure. Like, he wins the 2nd fight as well. Will it be as comprehensive as the first? Maybe not. Maybe they keep it close, and it goes to the comeback.
Yeah, you need like, I don't know. So I think there's only 3 fights that in the world that anybody has any interest in McGregor fight again. One against Nate Diaz as a decider. One against...
Don't say Paulie Malignaggi here.
Yeah,
get out of here.
I'm telling you.
I thought you were joking when you said that the other day, just for the sake of creating an argument. Like, you could pick 3 fights, and Paulie Malignaggi is in the top 3 people that McGregor could fight to get a...
That is going to do any business, that people are not just going to go... Because when is he going to fight UFC people that are like... Unless he has like some kind of tune-up fight, but they don't do that. He's not going to have a tune-up fight and risk getting injured, being out for a period of time. Every fight has to be a super fight, right? And is there anybody at that division now that anybody thinks he can beat, that he hasn't come off so far from his peak?
Okay, so do you think there's a chance that McGregor versus Khabib 2 sells out Dallas Cowboys Stadium?
I don't know. No. I think
what about Malignaggi there? Way less of a chance.
No, but should they stick Malignaggi in New York? Or... Like, that's a Madison Square Garden fight.
Yeah, but
so it's much smaller.
That's specific to Malignaggi, though. I mean, I'm talking global appeal here. So, and like Texas is almost like a neutral hunting ground here. Probably more, like, I'm not sure would Malignaggi even do better than Khabib in that scenario. Like, I just think when it comes to the global appeal of a Conor McGregor fight, I don't think the Malignaggi idea has as much power behind it as you think.
I think it'd be pretty easy to generate that kind of stuff, because...
The press tour would be, like, even worse than the Maymac press tour.
Well, I don't know if you do as much. Like, I don't know if they're looking for that kind of money. They're not going to get that money. That doesn't happen ever again.
But I know they're not going to get that type of money.
It's a single shot. So this is we'll only make 20 million each from this fight. That's okay.
Keep selling whiskey is what I say.
Yeah.